YouTube, what's going on? Second City Sleepers here today. Happy 4th of July, by the way, while we're recording this. We're just here doing a couple episodes while we got nothing to do right now. End of the night, everyone's passed out. So, by the way, CM Punk somewhat color coordinated, opposite way. But we were sitting here talking before we weren't going to record tonight, but we were talking about the Intercontinental Championship. Importance of way back when, about 15, 20 years ago compared to now, how it was, when you do the Intercontinental Championship back then, it was almost like guaranteed like a championship title shot, pretty much. And nowadays, like right now, you got Wade Barrett, who was injured, unfortunately. He's a good talent. And then you had like guys past that, it's like they had an Intercontinental title, and it didn't mean anything. But just way back when, you just have like random guys have it, and they would automatically get a title shot, pretty much. Kind of like with TNA right now with the X Division that they have. I mean, I know it's not the same thing, Intercontinental title in the X Division, but whenever somebody in TNA gets the X Division title, they'll have certain pay-per-view. I think it's Slammiversary or something. They'll get a chance to exchange the title in for a title shot, and WWE should do something like that.
Do that?
Yeah,
TNA?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. TNA, they do something like
I did not know
I don't
that.
I don't know if that's the exact pay per view, but it might be a specific pay per view for the X Division. I'm not. Don't quote me on that. I'm not the biggest TNA fan. No, there's not a lot of people who are, but I know there are TNA fans that watch this. But there's a specific pay-per-view. I don't know exactly which one. I apologize for that. But there's a specific pay-per-view for TNA where you can cash in the X Division title, which is basically the Intercontinental title of TNA. You can cash in for a World Heavyweight shot. I feel like WWE...
It's like more like a Money in a Bank thing then, isn't it?
It pretty much is, but you can't cash in as a specific spot. It's just
that one time.
you have to cash in against the heavyweight champion at that pay-per-view. Whether it's Slammiversary or whatever. Slammiversary is only TNA pay-per-view that can come up with, even though half their pay-per-views right now in TNA, they promote live on Thursday nights.
Yeah, and then they do the other half on pay-per-view. So.
Yes. But WWE should do something like that to make the Intercontinental title a little more,
Well, like we were discussing earlier, and then we decided to film it. Like, as I brought up, the Intercontinental title was, but see, all right, I guess I don't want to get ahead of myself. The Intercontinental title was the stepping stone of being something great, and like we were discussing, like the Macho Man was the former Intercontinental champion, became world champion. Ultimate Warrior.
So he was the Intercontinental title, and they got a shot against Hogan for the title.
And then won. And I mean, all the great Intercontinental. I mean, like The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. There was a lot of great Intercontinental champions that became champions. Now there are few and far between that have not went on to bigger and better things. But the Intercontinental title meant something. Now it's not means as much, and I think it doesn't mean as much too because you have the United States title and Intercontinental title. Then I think I said this last time on our last broadcast, where we have world tag titles, we have a world champion. Let's just have one Intercontinental arena. Just in my opinion, they should just call it the Intercontinental.
So
title.
There's always going to be a tag title with that. You got to have something in the middle between that and the heavyweight title, and that's always been the Intercontinental type. I know they brought in the United States Championship a little after the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, but that's the only mid-card title that there's two of.
Right.
There's only one tag.
That's the whole problem. You start right there, mid-card.
But that's
years past where the Intercontinental title, it used to be like main card up there with the WWE title. It used to be a huge deal. Now they're doing WWE on Raw. They're doing WWE Intercontinental title matches like an hour into the show, and you're just sitting there like,
yeah, and you don't, and yeah, and
like,
there's
what's the point? I mean,
and
a lot of
if
you
there's a
agree with
title
that,
change,
probably.
they're like, oh well, there's a title change, yeah, but because there's nothing beyond. But if you really think about it, back in the day, it was the Intercontinental Champion was the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight title.
That's exactly how it was. That's what I was getting at earlier before we started filming this. Him and I were discussing it a little bit. But it was like, as soon as you got that Intercontinental title, that was like your automatic #1 contendership for the world
the
title.
second best
Nowadays,
company.
you get the Intercontinental title, it's like, okay, you're going to be a mid-carder for another 3 or 4 months, and once you lose that title, we'll see how you are after that. If we believe, whether it's Vince or Triple H or creative, whoever makes that decision, they're going to sit there after they lose title and be like, okay, we're going to decide right now whether or not you're main event material for the title. And unfortunately, you've had I can't name off specifics in the past, but there have been a lot of guys in the past who have had the Intercontinental title within the past 5 to 10 years, who have the Intercontinental title, then they'll fall off the face of the earth for about a year. You won't see them on Raw or SmackDown or anything. And it just gets annoying because you have the same guys who has the WWE title, and they'll go on for a feud for like 3 or 4 months. I understand that. But when you have a guy who's been working his butt off for so many months with the Intercontinental title, and then he loses it and then just gets thrown aside, it depends on the wrestler, of course, but when it goes to every certain person who's had that title, it's not right.
Yeah, but that's it exactly, because when back in the day when a certain individual had the Intercontinental title and worked his butt off to get where he's at, and then when he lost it, what he became was, in the majority of the time, he became World Heavyweight Champion. And like he said, now that's not the case. Like, he works his butt off, becomes Intercontinental Champion, and then loses it, and then he gets thrown under the rug. Back in the day, like I said, Warrior, Austin, Triple H. I mean, Triple H, Austin, Hogan. No, Hogan never was an Intercontinental.
No, I don't think he ever was. No.
Never in a million.
That's because he wasn't that good.
Because Hulk Hogan was awesome. Never
Okay.
went down to that level. But Savage, like all these guys that won the Intercontinental title back in the day, lost the title and got pushed up to a higher level and became champion. Nowadays, like you said, they don't do that. When you lose the Intercontinental title, they're like, all right, you know why you lost it? Because we don't know what else to do with you. And they're great talents, like Ziggler, and...
I don't think... Did Ziggler ever have the Intercontinental title?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I know. I think
Yes.
he had the U.S. title after The Miz, I think.
Well...
So didn't The Miz have a feud and he took the U.S. title from him?
I want to say that...
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah,
I'm not positive at all.
I'm not.
But
I
that's
don't
just
wanna
what
argue
I
about
think.
If Ziggler... I really thought Ziggler had the Intercontinental title.
He might have, but the last time that I remember somebody getting a push after they won the Intercontinental title would probably... God, this is probably about a good 5-6 years ago when Jeff Hardy had the Intercontinental title. Then he went on and fought.
He went on and fought. And then he won the world
He got
title.
the title and then he feuded with Punk for a bit, which was a great feud. But
yeah,
that was probably the last
one
one that I remember that had the Intercontinental title that went on to fight for the major title. I can't remember anybody after that. I mean, if I'm wrong, go ahead and put down in the description below that if you guys remember somebody within the past so many years after Jeff Hardy that did that. Go ahead and let us know, because I can't remember off the top of my head at all, and I'm pretty sure I'm right that there was nobody after that got a major title shot right after they lost the Intercontinental title.
See, and that's the thing too. You gotta see if Ziggler had the Intercontinental title and lost it, and then had Money in the Bank and cashed it in.
See, I don't remember what that time period was between the time he had.
I'm not sure.
He might have had it when he won the Money in the Bank and lost it. Within the time he had money, he had the briefcase.
But now if you think about it too, though, like who brought the? See, I always see that ridiculous belt they brought in with the WWE, or at the time WWF Attitude Era, that ridiculous belt that looked like a woman's title.
Oh God!
And then, well, here's the thing. And then, what's his name brought it back? Dustin Reynolds.
Dustin Reynolds.
And he brought back
he had a different
old school
name, I believe, but
the old school white, but he had the white Intercontinental title, which was badass, and and then he had the Intercontinental title for a while, and then now he's Stardust. So it's like, all right, maybe he's...
Okay, you're thinking of Cody.
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes, yeah.
Who was I talking about?
You were talking about Dustin Johnson, who was a pitcher from some baseball team or something like that. You confused the hell out of me.
Yeah, I confused
but
myself.
yeah, Cody Rhodes.
Thank you. But you know what? That's what I was.
He was a good Intercontinental champion.
Don't edit that because that's.
No, I'm not editing that. That was funny right there.
But Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes was
brought
great.
Back the old school Intercontinental.
Yeah, he brought back the white belt and.
Then the old school.
The way he held it and fought his matches, it reminded me of the old school matches for people who used to hold that exact same title, the white title, like back 10, 15 years ago. It reminded me of the same thing. So when he had the belt, I'm like, this guy's gonna be good. He's gonna get a major title shot. And they just kind of like, well, you're gonna lose the title, but you'll continue to fight for the Intercontinental title for a few months down the road. Then we're just gonna fizzle you out for a bit, and then you'll come back. You're gonna have a face injury and wear a mask, and we're gonna kill your career like 95% of other great talents that should get a major title shot, should have a chance of running the company, but that's just the way it works with that business. Well, that's
which is the best gimmick ever. I'm just saying.
Well, at least you're saying it's better than Bo Dallas. Thank God.
No, I one of the best gimmicks because if you don't believe. No, I'm just joking. But no,
my colleague might not be in the show next episode because of that comment. I hope a lot of you agree with me because Bo Dallas is the worst. I can't say he's the worst character. I don't want to get off topic, but real quick, he's not the worst character. But Jesus, he's not the worst character. But the guy that's doing that character is terrible. They tried running Bo Dallas. Like I said, I don't want to get off topic, but I just want to run this by really quick.
They ran Bo Dallas as just Bo Dallas. He had no gimmick.
They brought up Bo Dallas as like the country guy. They brought him up for a Royal Rumble. I think it was 2 years ago. I think it was about 2 years ago.
Yeah, and
he came in the Royal Rumble, and anybody does their first WWE match is Royal Rumble. You're not going to know what to expect with them, and you're not going to know their character. So when he came out on the Raw and he did his whole country thing with, I think he feuded with Wade Barrett. I think, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. But the character was garbage. So they sent him back down to NXT or OVW, whatever it was at the time. And then 2-3 years later, here we are, and they bring him up as Bo Dallas. I love the stuff with. I hate to keep going on and on about this, but I love the stuff with he knocks down a guy and he's like, "Oh, you tried your hardest. That's what matters." I love that, but he is so terrible at executing that character. I mean, he can't even do his finisher. The first night he was on Raw with his character when he was Bo, as you would probably say. I mean, the first he did like the slice of bread, like it was not slice of bread, but it was a little different. And he did it. He botched it terribly right away. I was like, this guy is not gonna do anything. He's terrible. And they kept pushing him. He's another Sin Cara, in my opinion. He's not. I mean, Sin Cara can talk, but neither can Bo Dallas. Sin Cara can talk because he had a mask. Anybody with a mask cannot talk. We might get into that in an episode in the future. Anybody who's had a mask in WWE has never really talked aside from Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, and he couldn't talk either.
Well, of course,
but Sin Cara. What is this? The third Sin Cara we're seeing.
I think we're on the third Sin Cara right now,
and the third one's just as bad as the first one. So who cares about that?
It's bad, but I'm just trying to compare
No, I hear you.
Like botching their finishers. I'm like, I understand Sin Cara. I mean, he's got higher risk maneuvers and everything, but
he's a bum. He's the make our job.
I mean, if you're pushing yourself to try to get up in the rankings, I should say, and try to prove yourself, don't botch your finisher. That's my number one. Don't botch your finisher, and that's what Bo Dallas did. And, he came out the next week. I'm like, I'll give him another chance. And once again, I don't want to go on and on about this. We're to talk about the Intercontinental title, but Bo Dallas comes out next week. He starts talking. I'm not saying it because it's a heel, because myself and Bill over here, we love. Heels are what makes the company, in my opinion. And it's when Bo Dallas or Blow Dallas, as I call him,
that's not going to trend. By the way, go ahead.
Yeah, well, it trends in my mind, but when Blow Dallas talks, it's automatic in my head.
It's not going to trend. By the way, go ahead.
Okay, if it doesn't, it's in my head. But when he talks, it's just the character's great. Don't get me wrong, the character is amazing, but he can't execute any of the material that he's supposed to make. In ring, on the mic, outside the ring, he can't do it. But like I said, I'm
You
gonna
say he's a good talent, but he doesn't execute on the
the
mic or in the ring or on
character
the mic.
is a great idea for a talent, but he is not the person to
Yes,
execute that character
Oh,
because he is not a good talent.
yes, he's. I can't see anybody else doing that character. Because he has that voice, he has that. I mean, don't get me wrong, he
Okay.
ain't going nowhere.
It's okay. It's okay if you do it. Holy, like
Yeah,
God,
that's
what the-
awesome. I mean, I can't see.
It's
I
awesome,
can't
but
see,
he's bad at it.
No, I think he's very. Who would be better at it?
I couldn't think of one off the top of my head right now, but he is not good for it.
Yes, that's his gimmick. That's
You could put Curtis Axel out there, and I'd probably like him more.
okay. Curtis Axel will come out there and he's like, "Oh, you did all you could. You did your best. You just have to believe."
That was kind of sarcasm because I don't like blow.
But I'm saying, but that was a good it is a good example. Curtis
asshole.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Which is actually
he said it,
that
I
might
didn't.
start trending, by the way.
I
So if that
didn't
starts
say
trending,
it.
that's
He
on
didn't
us
say it.
because that is a good one.
Mr. Axel. You know, I can't
Who
see
does
him.
a perfect plex and then kicks out that
Yeah,
you know
I
he's going
can't
to be
see
bad.
him doing that.
But
I can't see him doing that gimmick. Not in a million years. I can't see him doing any gimmick. I can't see him
was like when
acting his way through a.
I mean, once
freaking
again, I apologize
M&M
for getting way
commercial.
off topic. We've been off topic for a few minutes here, but Curtis Axel, when he first came around,
It was horrible.
he did I can't remember what pay-per-view it was, but he did something against the Shield or something. No, it wasn't the Shield. It wasn't one of the guys of the Shield.
It doesn't matter. It was horrible.
But when I first saw him, I'm like, this guy could be good, you know. And then the second I
Never
saw,
thought a million
the second I
years.
saw him do the perfect
You
plex,
could tell by his face, he looked like a turd.
Fair
I
enough.
never liked him.
but I liked him when he first came around. But the first time I saw him do the perfect plex, and someone kicked out of it, I'm like, no, I'm done with him.
I mean,
And then
not to be
he starts-
ignorant or like.
Well, the main problem I have with him right now,
He's not
fast
good.
fast forwarding to like current stage
He's
with him,
not good at it.
he acts like he's better than his dad, and he's nowhere in
He doesn't
any
have the
league
look.
near
He
his
doesn't
dad.
have the body. He doesn't have. He can't wrestle.
No,
He's not good at all.
he's not good. And I mean, I'll call myself wrong on that guess because I thought he was going to be great. He wasn't. No, I admit defeat on that one. But anyway,
I mean, I respect him for doing what he does because his dad is. You know,
his
Kurt
dad is
Hennig.
Kurt Hennig. I mean,
it's hard to follow in them footsteps. and-
you can't expect the same exact wrestler. 'Cause
But-
if it was the same exact wrestler in person, he would be higher than Cena and
yeah. I would
Jericho,
hope.
who's back
I would
now,
hope.
and Reigns. He'd be higher than him, but you can't expect that with him. And unfortunately, a lot
he's
of
not
people
good.
did, and it did not
Yeah, it
pan
didn't.
out or work out. He can't talk to Mike. His wrestling
shake
skills
your
are
head.
terrible. It's just Curtis Axel. Just move on. I mean,
you got to do something. You got to really do something different to make it. And
move on to Ziggler. Push him for the love of God. Push
Yeah.
Ziggler.
like we said many times, Dolph Ziggler or how we
Well,
doing
is
that
that-
time?
We got plenty of time. But as I said last episode before about Ziggler, I said he could be the face of the company, which a lot of people probably misunderstand that. I believe he has the potential to be the face of the company, but
I think he has the potential to be a Daniel Bryan.
okay, I'm gonna throw in at you here, see what you think. He has. I'm not gonna say he has the potential to be the face of the company ever. I'll throw that one away because that's just ludicrous looking back at it. But
Okay.
he could have the potential to be the next HBK if they give him the chance.
You know what? I like that
I could
because
see that.
HBK was never the face of the company.
I mean,
He was like the kind of like the bad boy, like
he was the bad boy that got the
Like-
biggest pop like he's getting right now. He's got that
Yeah,
same,
yeah,
that whole,
yeah,
like the girls
yeah.
love me and everything. No,
and he. Now, all right, real quick, if you ever watch Ziggler wrestle, and you watch Kurt Hennig wrestle, just tie that stuff.
yeah, but you would think that
You would think Ziggler's
kid.
yes, exactly.
You
God, he
you
flipped
slip out
around and
Axel
oh
and
my
Hennig
God.
and Axel and
That's-
Ziggler. You would.
Ziggler's Kurt Hennig's
Ziggler
kid.
looks like Kurt Hennig somewhat.
And he flips and flops around like he did. like Kurt Hennig did.
Ziggler is the best seller in the company,
But
hands down.
But back to your point with the Shawn Michaels reference, I could see that because Shawn Michaels was never like the face of the company. Shawn Michaels was always
That's
the
why I
top guy.
brought him up. I mean,
Shawn Michaels was the top guy, but was he the face of the company? No.
no, I mean look
Never.
at compare them to real quick. Yeah,
Does he-
Shawn Michaels, Dolph Ziggler. Do they get over with the fans extremely well? Yes. Both of them. Were they the face of the company? No, I mean, HBK is probably one of the top 5 WWE guys of all time.
But he
Will
was
Ziggler
never the
be
face
that?
of the company.
Probably not, but he probably could be if they gave him a chance. But it's not going to happen. But, I mean, if you look at their similarities, the way they sell moves, the way they do their moves, the way they're on the microphone, there's a lot of similarities. I mean, they have the same...
Now, I'll give Sean the benefit of the doubt right here, where maybe Ziggler has to work on it, is the talking. Look, Ziggler can talk, but he doesn't have that... He's got to find his voice, I guess. Like, Sean always had his voice. Sean always had that voice.
Yes.
Like, he didn't have to create something, because he always had that, like, Shawn. He always had that raspy.
Yeah,
he was Shawn Michaels. He knew what he was doing. Now, Ziggler could be the same, but I think Ziggler has to find his voice. Or talk a different way than he should.
I
thought he usually does.
I thought he kind of
because
found
Shawn was always Shawn.
I thought Ziggler kind of found it it was more than a couple months back, probably about 3 or 4 months ago, when I think he lost the match, and then he went backstage. He did a interview. I think it might have been. I don't think it was Josh Matthews at the time. I'm not sure, but he did an interview, and he was going on about how I steal the whole show and I'm the best there is. It kind of reminds you about how Punk went in 2011 when he did in Las Vegas, when he went off script. When Ziggler just did like a 30-second promo backstage, it kind of reminds you of that. And I thought Ziggler was going to break out of that. He never did. Whether or not
I think Ziggler needed to do that on the main stage like Punk did.
Yeah.
You can't do it on a 30-second.
That would have helped a lot.
And behind the scenes.
I mean, when that cut off, Triple H or Vince would probably pulled him backstage and said, "Listen, you can't do that anymore. You're done with that."
Like Ziggler should have done the same thing Punk did.
Yeah.
Punk sat down with a Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt on, in Indian style, and said what he wanted to say. Which
I have the balls to say things that nobody else has the balls to say.
There's another thing we should talk about soon, coming up in next episode, like the top greatest moments of all time. Because
that might be our next episode right there for you guys.
Greatest moment. And I think Ziggler needs to have that moment. Like, not backstage for 30 seconds.
Well, I mean, I thought Ziggler had that moment many times. I thought Ziggler had the moment when he won the Money in the Bank. I thought he had it when he cashed in against the Real.
Maybe they're holding him back.
I understand with the whole injury thing with the size, but they give Daniel Bryan the title. I mean, Daniel Bryan's slightly muscular than Ziggler, but you look at Ziggler. Ziggler's better than Bryan. You can crucify me for that, but I think Ziggler's better than Bryan. Whether or not you agree with that, but a lot of people are probably going to disagree with me.
Daniel Bryan, if you watch his matches when he was before
the American Dragon back then.
No, not even then, because I didn't like American Dragon then. He was all
that's right. You did not like him back then.
When he was right before the year before he became heavyweight champion for the first time, then Triple H screwed him out, blah blah, and all that. Right before he got the big push, man, Daniel Bryan was flying around doing. It was very fun to watch Daniel Bryan wrestle.
It was.
And
well,
a lot of people say that about it. It was fun to watch him wrestle.
Well, it cracks me up because when Daniel Bryan was a heel, we're going to turn this into a half and half episode because the first half we talked about Intercontinental titles and we completely switched gears. I apologize about that.
Because there's only so much you could talk about.
Well, that is true. I apologize about that, by the way, for those who thought it would be a full episode for Intercontinental title, but we started to get rolling with one, so my apologies. But one thing with Daniel Bryan was when he was a heel, nobody liked him. When he had the heel and he lost, when he was a heel and he lost to Sheamus at WrestleMania, and what was it?
Yeah,
8 seconds or whatever it was.
28 and 8 seconds.
Whatever.
The big fucking bro kick or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, he gets in the ring, kisses AJ Lee, turns around.
Boom. Yeah, kick to the face and it was over.
Everybody loved him. Nobody liked Daniel Bryan. But the second Daniel Bryan became a face and he started for Triple H, everybody loved him.
I mean, why is that? I think they recognized how good he was. Like, I don't think his full potential was when he won that title and then lost it to Sheamus at WrestleMania, and then Daniel Bryan started like flying around, like kicking butt and doing.
Once he started feuding,
like he just started
here's my opinion about it.
His ass off, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, this guy's good," and this guy's actually only like 5'8", but he's putting his heart out on the line.
Here was my quick opinion about it. The reason
day.
why everyone got a huge pop with Bryan, I'm not saying Bryan's bad, but I do like Bryan. Bryan's great. But the reason why I think that he got a huge pop is because he started feuding Triple H. I think it reminded a lot of the old school wrestlers of how Austin fought with Vince. When Austin first came out and started fighting.
I think Daniel Bryan was getting a pop before that. Way before that.
I didn't see it. I mean, I did not see it.
No.
Whether or not
because he was wrestling his ass off way before that.
And but people I did not hear that pop until he started feuding with Triple H. I mean, I'm sorry if a lot of you disagree with that, but
he started feuding with Triple H at, like, this past year and a half. Dude, Daniel Bryan was kicking ass for the last 3 years after he lost at WrestleMania. Did his own thing.
Well, he lost at WrestleMania, then he went. No, that was before that. Excuse me. I was gonna say.
And then he just
when he feuded with Punk for no. Oh wait, he lost the heavyweight title to Sheamus. Then he went on to feud with Punk. I think after that.
You might have, but
which I was at that one pay-per-view. I think it was Extreme Rules when Daniel Bryan fought Punk in Chicago. I think that was 2012, 2013.
Yeah, and it wasn't about Daniel Bryan even talk at the time. There was no yes. I mean, there was a little no and yes and all that.
The yes and no were starting a little bit at that point.
They cheered him because he, like, you go back and watch his matches after WrestleMania when he lost to the Bro Kick. Watch his matches. I mean, he put everything on. He put his ass on the line. Like, he was flying around, going crazy, and then wrestling fans ain't dumb. And wrestling fans started figuring out, like, man, this guy is a badass dude. Puts his ass on the line all the time. Hey, he might not be the biggest, he might not be the baddest, but man, he's flying around and he's getting things done. He's doing what he's got to do to win. And I think, literally, I swear to God, watch it. We need to go back and watch that. And then slowly but surely, the wrestling fans started liking him just because of his work ethic. And then it had nothing to do with fucking it. Sorry, I apologize for cutting. It had nothing to do with Triple H and the Authority. Steve Austin was awesome, and then Vince McMahon helped him to be more awesome.
Vince made Austin who he was. I know.
No.
He helped.
He helped, yeah. He
helped with the character.
And Daniel Bryan was awesome, and Triple H and the Authority helped him make him be better. Or helped him be more popular. Because Daniel Bryan did all himself. I mean, you got to watch it. I mean, you got to watch it. Daniel Bryan was flying around the crowd, was going crazy. I was going crazy. I'm like, man, I love the what he's doing. Dude, he was like, he would nonstop. This guy would just be going and going and going and going and going. And that was way before the Authority, way before Triple H, way before anything, way before they thought he was a B+ player. You know why he became in the limelight? Because he worked his ass off to get to that spotlight.
Which is very rare to see nowadays, because normally you see a lot of people, or wrestlers I should say. Sorry, I thought I heard something. There's a lot of wrestlers and talent nowadays that only get up from kissing the higher dog's ass. But
that's a lot of politics.
That's what WWE is nowadays, politics. There's a lot of it, but Daniel Bryan kind of broke the mold of that. I think what Daniel Bryan did was great. He worked his ass off to get where he was at. Unfortunately, he got injured, but the guy is great, hands down. But I kind of look at like guys below him, like you got.
Did you say guys below him?
Below him.
Okay, it did sound like he said below him. But
anyway, but guys below him, that's
a banter we need. Go ahead.
Okay, but guys below, and I hate to beat a dead horse, but you got guys.
Did you say dead hurt?
You know what? You need to stop. But I hate to beat a dead horse, but you got guys like Ziggler who have been working their ass off as well, who I think is better than Bryan. I'm gonna get a lot of bashing for that, but Ziggler's better than Bryan in my opinion. I know I'm gonna retract my statement from an episode or two ago when I said he was face of the company. He's not face of the company. Could he be? Yes, possibly, but he won't be. But anyway, back on track. You got guys like Ziggler, who've been doing the same thing. You got guys like Sandow, who's playing Sherlock Holmes and whatever
McMahon.
stupid character. Sandow is amazing on the microphone. He's a
hell of a wrestler.
He's a hell of a wrestler. Yeah, he's a hell of a wrestler.
He must have pissed somebody off. Too.
It's same thing. You know, they
should group called "We Pissed Off Vince McMahon."
No, they could. One thing that really upset me about a week or two ago when they announced that they released Drew McIntyre, I thought he was.
He got pissed on for a long
time. He had the perfect look.
Yeah, he was.
He had the perfect look. His in-ring skills were
he was
amazing. His mic skills were they were okay, but you put him in 3MB. I'm like,
you should have been a leader of the
3MB is like the automatic unemployment line right there. Yeah, he said he went from being the chosen one or whatever.
Yeah,
Vince called him.
They actually,
and then he was just
never did anything for 2
He's like,
years.
okay, I'm
gonna straight 2 years.
No, he lost to Hornswoggle for about 2 years straight, and I was on SmackDown. And that's why part of the reason why I stopped watching SmackDown because I got so upset. But it's just
bad. I don't know.
It's just younger talent like that that try to work their butts off.
That's a great gimmick. We pissed off Vince McMahon group. Like,
okay,
we're gonna keep getting buried. Well, let's.
That would be bigger than the NWO.
And then the shocking development.
Okay, really quick.
And then here comes Drew McIntyre come back, and he's like, "Oh, I'm still here, but I'm now with, Ziggler and Sandow and me. They got 3 of them. They'd be better than the Shield."
Okay, really quick.
Not better than the Shield.
Put a comment down below the description of if you would have your own I got screwed by Vince McMahon or whoever creative team. Put your top 3 to 5 guys down there who you would have, like your own NWO for guys that got screwed. Guys who have worked their butts off and just got whoever on the lower card now that you think, who are the jobbers that you think that we're not putting in fucking Heath Slater or whoever, because Heath Slater.
Heath Slater saw his job in WWE.
I don't know how, but just guys that you think could have been big in WWE. Put your top 3 to 5 guys in your own little like NWO group would probably be the easiest way to say it, and we'll give you guys feedback on what we feel about that in an upcoming episode. But this episode is running a little long, so we're going to cut it off here. Next episode, we're going to talk about our top WWE moments. So be sure to check that one out. That one's going to be a good one. And we got Sean Anthony, the best of the best over here, otherwise known as Bill. But as always, guys, take it easy. We'll see you guys later.